Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to coyssoutherneats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
Well, everybody, welcome to the breakfast edition of the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm your host, Jason Patterson. Championship Saturday was upon us last week, or this weekend. I do want to thank our sponsor, Coy's Southern Eats. They've had a couple of pop-ups coming over the last couple of weeks, and y'all should go out and see them. Make sure that you are checking out their website at coyssoutherneats.com. Also Walmart.com and Amazon.com, and give the gift of great seasoning and great food, and go reimagine and re-experience the magic of Coy's and come get you some. So, Otis, we had championship Saturday yesterday, and you and I were kind of talking about this, and one of the things that you pointed out real quickly was that there's going to be some teams that are going to be really butthurt today.
Oh, yeah, and deservingly so. I mean, it doesn't matter which four get in. There's about 6 or 7 you can make an argument for. And the ones that don't get in. I mean, well, give you example, Alabama, I could see them getting left out. I'm not saying they will. I don't know and don't care, but I'm just saying, here's the thing about Alabama. They may get left out, but if they get in it, they may win it. That's the thing. And that's why I say it's bad that these teams are getting left out, because some team getting left out might be the team that wins it. You could say the same thing about Georgia. They may get left out, but they could win it if they got in. I mean, I don't know if Ohio State would win it if they got in, but that'd be the other team I can think of it. I mean, if you put in Michigan, if you put in Washington. I'm still getting over the flu. If you put in Washington, you put in Michigan, you put in Florida State, if you put in Florida State, and you put in Texas, because, I mean, Texas beat Alabama. And if the head in Tuscaloosa, if head-to-head doesn't matter, then I don't know why you play the games. Let's just pick 4 teams we like the best, and pick the SEC teams we like the best, and this and that, and put them in there. Why even play the game if the heads up when you go to Alabama and win, and you're gonna get penalized because you lost OU? Come on, give me a break. So I mean, you beat Alabama by 10 in Tuscaloosa. And so, I mean, Texas to me has got to be in. What it comes down to me, I think Georgia and Ohio State are out. I think it comes down to to Alabama and Florida State. I mean, here's the deal. Florida State's undefeated. Can you put them out? If you're going with the 4 best teams right now, does anybody in the world, anybody biggest Florida State diehard, do they think they'd beat Alabama if they played right now?
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, that's why I don't know if it's the whole season or if you're truly picking the 4 best teams right now. Because I think if you're picking the 4 best teams right now, you got to leave Florida State out. And if you're not, then you put Florida State in and leave Alabama out. I think as bad as I hate, and look, people, believe me, I'm not a Texas homer. I hate Texas. I mean, I absolutely hate them. So, I mean, believe me, it pains my butt to sit here and defend them. But all I'm saying, look, they went to Tuscaloosa. They won by 10 points. I think it was 10. Whatever they went to Tuscaloosa and won. Whatever.
I think it was 37-27.
Okay, I thought it was 10. But they went there and won. And, yeah, they lost to OU. But, I mean, they beat Alabama. We're not talking about OU. OU's not in this discussion. I think they've lost 2 or 3 games. So, I know they've lost at least 2. So, OU's not in the discussion. So, so I don't even bring up OU. I'm just saying that but regardless, and like I said, the sad thing is Alabama may get left out, but if they get in, they could very well win it. I wouldn't bet against them winning it, Jason. So there's definitely going to be some teams, right, and rightfully so. And that's why I wish they'd get this thing, hurry up and get this playoff going and get a sensible number of teams. 4 is better than 2, but come on, I mean. I'll be honest with you. I think all conference champions deserve to be in the playoffs, Jason.
Yeah,
I think I've said this from day one. I said they need to fix it. A number of teams where every conference Power 5 conference champion, all 5 Power 5 conference champions. Of course, now the Pac-12 is dissolving. But what I have said from day one was all the conference champion deserve to be in the playoffs. Then you fill out the rest of it with the wild cards, the Georgias, the Ohio States, maybe the Oregons, maybe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I've thought the conference champions should get to go to the playoffs, and that would have been 5 up till through this year. That would have been 5, and I just think they need to be in there. And then, but if you're going to have a 14 playoff, you can't just say it's the SEC, the Big Ten, the Pac, the ACC, and the Big 12 champions. I think there's got to be more than 4. I think you've got to get this thing. I mean, and I'm not for putting every team in the country in there, but I think it needs to be 8 to 16 teams, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and so the college football playoff selection show will be at noon today on ESPN. So make sure to go check that out. Texas beat Alabama at home 34-24, and then Texas lost. Really, it was on a last-second play. They gave up a huge chunk of yards to Dylan Gabriel as he marched OU down the field in that the last seconds of that game. So I mean, Texas really kind of was they're on the precipice of an undefeated season, but they weren't. Yeah. So I don't think that, and you saw the way that Texas played yesterday. They were pretty dominant against Oklahoma State, and I really feel like Oklahoma State may be a year away, but they just weren't up to the task of taking on Texas yesterday. But
no, and that's the thing. Texas is the same boat as I said about Alabama, Jason. I mean, Texas could get left out. I don't think they will, but if they do, they could very well win it if they get in. Yeah, they're like Alabama in that sense. I mean, see, I don't. That's the thing. That's why I'm hesitant about Florida State, because I don't feel like they can win it. If Travis was there, different story, but he's not there. That's the. And I know they get the backup quarterback back for the playoffs instead of the freshman. I get all that. But Travis is not there. They don't go undefeated without Travis this season. And he's not going to be there. So, I mean, I look at that. And that's why I might let Alabama and Texas in with Michigan. To me, Michigan and Washington are in. And I'd probably be honest with you, I'm changing as we talk on this. I'd probably put Alabama and Texas in instead of Florida State. I just the thing about it is those 4 teams, Washington, Michigan, Alabama, and Texas, any of them could win it. See, I can't say that about Florida State. I cannot say that about Florida State. If they had Travis, but they don't have Travis. That's the bottom line. They don't have. So ifs. If I was 7 foot tall and could play like LeBron James, I'd be a millionaire. So I mean, if doesn't mean crap, you know. So I mean, hell, if I was LeBron James, I wouldn't be doing this. So I mean, we can if our way to anything, but I don't think Florida State can win it. And so therefore, I'd probably change. I think I'd change my mind. I'd put Alabama in and leave Florida State out.
I would too. If Jordan Travis was playing, if he was healthy, that's a completely different dynamic.
Yeah, we're not even having that discussion then. I mean, but I just think if you and Tim Smith rightfully pointed out that if you let Florida State in, it's going to be like TCU last year in the championship game. It's tough though to leave out an undefeated team, conference winner. It's just tough, man. God, that's tough. I mean, that's why I said. That's why I said they need that. They should have done this the right start with. All conference champions get in, then you fill out the bracket. I mean, I could live right now if you had the 5 conference champions in, put Georgia, Ohio State and Oregon in with them, Jason.
And that'd be done.
Yeah, that's 8. You've got you an 18 field. And there shouldn't be much controversy beyond that. I mean, there shouldn't be much controversy. I don't know, maybe Missouri or somebody could argue ahead of Oregon. I don't think so. But I mean, the Pac-12 was a good conference this year.
Yeah,
I think
isn't that a kick in the pants too that they're going to be disbanding after this year, and they finally put a team in the CFP, and they had honest to God, they're probably their top 4 or 5 teams were really good, and they could match up against most teams in any conference.
Oh, Washington and Oregon are as good as I mean, those teams can play, man. I mean, Washington. I know Penix from back in recruiting when he was going to Indiana.
Yeah.
And that kid's a good ball player, man. And Penix is as good as anybody out there. So, I just think all conference champions should get in. Then we wouldn't be having this so-called debate or discussion, I just don't. I don't think Florida State should get left out. But again, if you're doing it by the way they've got this thing set up where the 4 best teams get in, then I can't put them in. I've changed my mind while we were on the air about that because I told you going on, I thought Florida State over Alabama. But the more I think about it, they don't deserve to be in. If we're going by the 4 best teams because they don't have Travis, and they're not going to have Travis. If I thought if he was going to come back, it'd be a different story too, Jason. But what I understand is they will get the backup back that was out with the concussion yesterday, but they won't get Travis back. So I don't see the silver lining there.
No, that kid's foot was wrapped up in a cast, and he was on a knee scooter yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, so I mean, he's not there.
So what?
No.
I got my sound producer in here. I got Max in here also as well. So if you need a big guy. Oh, there you are. So
Julius. Hold on, Jason. Hold on.
Sure, let me so just for a couple minutes, I want to take a minute also to thank Coys for all of their support that they give us. Love Tracy, love Clay to death. They're great people, and they really help us do what we do. Because if it wasn't for them, this isn't possible. So I want to thank them real quick, and I also want to go a quick break for just a second until we get Otis back on.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CoysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And and welcome back. I got Otis back with me as well. And
sorry about that. I think the boys were having a debate on who was going to the conference playoffs, and we're having a disagreement. They were getting ready to have a knockdown drag out. I had to do some separating there. Bulldog was getting pretty mad.
it sounds like a fight between Oklahoma or Ohio State and Texas and Alabama.
Yeah. The Bulldog was not a happy camper. He was getting ready to whip some butt, and I had to put him up. I had to put him in jail for a while. Let him calm down.
So, I know that this has been a very 90-10 reaction that we've had this week. Bobby Petrino is back, offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And they've already been hitting the recruiting trail. And they're not trying to recruit new guys. They're trying to re-recruit the guys that they had been recruiting to make sure that they're solid on their pledges. You had Kenny Guyton and Sam and Bobby with Courtney Crutchfield yesterday. You also had Jimmy Smith down there. He was with Braylon Russell. Yeah. And making sure that these commits that either are 50-50 or they're solid, but they're reaffirming it. They're making sure that these kids stay home.
Yeah. I think, they're trying to get Crutchfield back in the commitment deal. They had a big cookout at feast at Jimmy Smith, Sam, and Bobby at Braylon Russell's. They've seen a lot of kids. Bobby and Sam went by and saw Grayson Wilson. Marcus Wembley did decommit. He visited Michigan for the Ohio State game. A little bit surprised there that Marcus would do that, but whatever. I mean, he's a 25 kid. But yeah, I mean, hiring Bobby is going to help this team. We'll see who they get for the offensive line coach. But those two positions should really improve. If they keep Morgan Turner at tight end coach, if you keep Kenny Guyton at wide receiver and Jimmy Smith at running back, then you would have your entire staff there with the new offensive line coach. And that would be a very good staff, I think. And, I don't know what they'll make. I don't think they will make any changes on defense. There could be obviously always somebody could leave, on their own board. But as far as I think, and I probably, to be honest with you, I think probably Sam has made all the changes he's going to make, telling people to find a job, instead of firing them and hiring, So I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's going to be any more Sam asking somebody to find a job, deals. I think that's finished, but that doesn't mean that, there's changes all over the country. Somebody could hire, hey, if the UNLV coach, offensive coordinator left, would they hire Kenny Guyton to run their offense? So, I mean, anything can happen. And that's why I said, I'd never say there won't be any changes, because even the defensive line coaches, the defensive coaches, not defensive line, one of the defensive coaches could leave, get another job somewhere. So anything can happen out there. No, I haven't heard on the offensive line. I've had the flu all week, guys. I haven't done any more than I've had to do. Obviously, Eric Mateus is a name that I do know has strong interest in the job. He was here before with Sam. Baylor struggled some this year, but they've been pretty good up until this year on the offensive line and offense. And Eric Mateus, I know, is very interested in this job. I know that for a fact. I'm not saying he'll get it or he's even in the running. I'm just saying I know he's very interested in this job. But that's the only name that I know of. I don't think I've seen the offensive line coach at A&M, but I don't think that would be a candidate. That guy took more criticism than Cody Kennedy took. So, I don't jump out of the frying pan. Now, I'll tell you, Will, if Kenny did leave, and I hope Kenny doesn't leave, but if he does, the wide receiver coach at A&M, Damian Craig, that's a guy that I would jump all over if I'm Sam Pittman, the wide receiver coach at A&M. He's been to Auburn. He's been different places, and he's very good recruiter. I mean, excellent recruiter.
He was a hell of a player at Auburn too when he was quarterback.
Yeah, that's a guy I would jump on at wide receiver if Guyton left. Maybe Guyton doesn't leave. If Kenny can get an offensive coordinator job somewhere and that's what he wants, I hope he gets it. But I hope Kenny stays myself, from just my selfish standpoint. But if there's an offensive coordinator job out there and Kenny can get it, then let him. Then if that's what he wants, then I'd be for him getting it. But I'm not sitting here urging Kenny to leave. I just want to make that clear because I like Kenny. I think he's a very good coach. He's helped me out a time or two on some stuff, and nothing against him at all. I hope he stays, but I do know he wants to be an offensive coordinator, and if he gets that job, then more power to him. I liked Michael Shearer, but he got the defensive coordinator job at UNLV. He took that, which he should, So that's what I'm saying. There's always a chance some of these guys that we're not talking about, there might be somebody poach one of them defensive coaches. Anything can happen in this day and age. I mean, you got new coaches popping up here and there and hiring staffs, and you never know. So anything can happen, but I don't have a name on other than Eric Mateus, the only name I've got on the offensive line. But I don't see the A&M guy being a candidate. I just don't see that, man. I mean, to me, he took as much heat or more than Cody did, and I know he had talent down there at A&M. I know they had talent, and they took a lot of heat. So we'll see.
Yeah. Seeing what I was really interested to see what was going to happen on how Sam was going to move on the offensive line coach hire. I was wondering to see if he was going to wait for the weekend to shake out or if he had a guy already in mind. Because let's face it, Cody knew that he wasn't going to be here next year on Monday. End of story. Because those were exit interviews. And then within a couple of days, he pops up with Jeff Levy down at Mississippi State. So he's had a few days to kind of sort this out. And I think he was waiting for college football championship Saturday to kind of shake out. He took the weekend to go recruit. And now he can kind of refocus and get the guy that he feels like is going to be the best fit here at Arkansas.
Yeah, and I'm sure he has someone in mind. I mean, because like I said, Cody was urged to go find a job. I mean, without being fired. So, I mean, that was the deal. And, he wasn't going to be back at Arkansas. I saw people putting out there, people are retiring. They don't want to play for him. Those are not insiders because those people, he was not going to be here next year. If Mississippi State hadn't happened, he still wouldn't have been here. So, I mean, Cody wasn't going to be here. I love Cody Kennedy. So, I mean, that's not a knock on him, but I'm just telling you the way it was. He's, I'm sure Sam's got someone in mind. Makes you think if it was Mateus, he'd probably already have made that move maybe. So that may be why it may not. And like I said, it's bad timing for Eric because Baylor didn't have a very good offense this year. So, a couple of years ago, he was up for the top offensive line coach in the country, So just, I mean, timing is a lot of everything, man. In this world, timing is everything. And kind of bad timing for Baylor to have been bad this year on offense. Yeah, I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm just saying it's bad timing. That's what I'm saying. I really don't know what happened at Baylor. I don't follow them that much, and I don't know what happened. I know they didn't have the success that they thought they would have.
If I'm not mistaken, they had a loss to Texas State this year.
Yeah, they did, and I think both coordinators are going to get the axe or already have. And he just hired that defensive coordinator. That's a headline I saw that he was going to axe both coordinators. Now they struggled and they did have it, and there again, maybe none of that has anything to do with Eric Mateus and the offensive line though. So I don't know, and that's why I say I don't know because I don't follow Baylor very closely. I just they're not a program that I really probably followed them more that one year when they were playing in the Sugar Bowl and beat. Walcott had an interception, pick six in the Sugar Bowl. Probably followed Baylor more that year because they were really good. I did see them play BYU last year, and I thought Eric's offensive line looked pretty good against. I think BYU won that game, if I'm not mistaken. But I saw them and BYU play last year, not this season, but last season, before Arkansas went out there and beat BYU. And I thought the offensive line for Baylor looked pretty good in that game. They were missing some key players, but the offense was, not the offensive line. But if I remember right, the offensive line looked pretty good.
Yeah, they did. I'm looking here really quick, and see if Baylor, Texas State, it was Texas State 42-31, which, by the way, that Texas State team got TJ Finley, ex-Auburn quarterback.
Yeah.
That dude can still go.
Oh, no, that's the thing. Man, you get a quarterback, especially early in the season before injuries deplete your roster. A school like that, where they're probably low on numbers, and they played them early in the season before the roster got depleted with injuries. They're tough.
And it looks like Baylor actually didn't play BYU this year. They played Cincinnati, Iowa State, Houston, Kansas State, TCU.
The game I was talking about was last year, though. It was out there. No, last year, not this year. I'm talking. The 2022 season is when I was talking about.
Gotcha.
They played them. I don't remember.
That's right. The first of the year, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was.
It was early, it was before the Arkansas BYU game.
Yeah.
No,
I think it was like their second game.
I'm talking about the 2022 season where they played them, and
that actually was a really close game too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think BYU won, if I remember right. But I thought the offensive line for BYU looked pretty good. But yeah, I was talking about the 2022 season.
So one of the things, in bringing quarterbacks up real quick, with the portal, you haven't heard anything from KJ Jefferson definitively. You've heard of arguments on both sides of the fence, some coming from KJ himself saying he hasn't made a decision yet. You've got folks like On3 and have put stuff out there saying that he has committed, he's going to be entering the transfer portal. I don't know where that's going to stand when it's all said and done, but Bobby and Sam are out there trying to recruit you, like you talked about with Grayson Allen. They haven't seen him. They went down. They saw Walker White also. Took a long look at Kane Archer in that 5A state championship game. That was, I do believe, Friday night. I watched quite a bit of that. And he also, they made a run at Drake Lindsay. I think he's going to be solid with Minnesota.
I don't think they're going to go there. I just don't. I know that people hyping him and they're pushing that. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't.
It looks like Cole Kelly, honestly, to me. That from what I saw yesterday, he has
he's got great stats, and he's probably a great quarterback, but he does not fit what Arkansas is doing. And I don't know. Some people will not let that go, and I don't think they're going. I'll be surprised if Arkansas makes a run there. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm not bashing that kid in any way. I just don't. I don't think he fits what Arkansas wants to do, even with Petrino. You got KJ Jackson. People forget about him, and I hear all this recruit Arkansas. I'm all for recruiting Arkansas, but let's how about getting the best players too? I mean, and guys that getting players that don't fit your system never helps. It leads to they're going to eventually leave, not be happy, and it just doesn't make any sense to just take a kid for perception's sake or something if you don't think he's one of your better recruits.
Yep. And Bobby was introduced on Tuesday as the offensive coordinator, and by Friday they were already out recruiting. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that they haven't, but they've already had an opportunity. Bobby has to take a look at Malachi Singleton that's here, and also Jacoby Criswell. People kind of forget that those guys are already here, and they keep looking at who's going to be the next guy. And like you said, with KJ Jackson coming into the fold too, Bobby's got some options if he feels like any of those guys are going to fit his system, to keep them and then expand on what they're able to do well, and then surround an offense around what they're able to do well, and then put the guys in space that can get open, which I still think that there might be some shuffling in the the wide receiver room to find the best 4 or 5 guys that Bobby can put on the field at any given moment, because I honestly think that he has 2 right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there, because I'm not sure. I honestly don't think KJ will be back at Arkansas. I could be wrong on that. I've seen reports of him going to South Carolina, and I know Dow. I get the Dow deal. I get that, but that's a pro style offense, and the way he struggled in the Dan Enos pro style, I don't know it.
No.
To me, that doesn't make any sense. I'm missing something there. I don't know what, but I'm obviously missing something. And I get why he likes Dow. Dow's a great person, man. Awesome person. Great recruiter. Very good coach. But I'm just saying that the way that KJ struggled, and Enos is a top pro style. Just, I don't know. To me, I'm missing something when I hear South Carolina is the favorite. I don't know what I don't know what's
the
going
math
on.
just doesn't add up.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think so. I think you'll start to see clarity tomorrow, and they don't have to go in tomorrow. Tomorrow's first day, but I think you'll see a lot of clarity. Maybe later today and tomorrow, you'll start to see more and more clarity on who's going in, who's staying, who's going. I mean, Sam's completed his exit interviews, so he knows who's staying, who's going, or pretty much. Maybe there was 1 or 2 on the bubble, but Sam completed those Thursday at right before the press conference with Bobby at 2. I think he said he finished them at 2:55 or 1:55 that day. So he knows pretty much what he's got or doesn't have and what he needs in recruiting. But I think you'll see more and more clarity starting later today and tomorrow. Yeah.
And with the portal opening, I wouldn't be surprised if KJ ends up at TCU. If Kendall Briles stays there, we'll have to see, because with Houston being open, I don't know which way that school's going to go. But
I think they'll go the Tulane coach if they can. I think that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. I don't know if he'll take it, but that's what they're trying to do there. I've even heard that Levy might hire his brother-in-law, Kendall Briles, and have him offensive coordinator. But would KJ go to Mississippi State and play behind Cody's offensive line again? I mean, I don't see that. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I don't see that either. That, to me, the names I'm hearing, Mississippi State and South Carolina and stuff, don't make any sense to me. I mean, I could see TCU, but the others don't make any sense to me, man. I mean, you struggle in pro style here with Dan, and you're going out there, maybe Dow's more apt to adjust to fit KJ than what Enos was. I saw no adjustment from Enos, my way or the highway, pretty much what I saw. So maybe that's what they're looking at there. But and these are all rumors anyway. Who knows if he's even considering South Carolina? I just saw that somewhere. We'll see. I don't think KJ will be back at Arkansas. I think one telling sign of that was because when Arkansas talked about the quarterbacks, Bobby talked about, he'd looked at Jacoby, he'd looked at Malachi. He didn't say he'd looked at KJ, I don't think. So,
exactly.
He has. And, and I see people say, well, he coached Ryan Mallett at Arkansas. KJ doesn't fit his style. He coached Lamar Jackson at Louisville. So KJ can fit his style too. Jason, you there?
Sorry about that. I was catching some shade there, not from anybody personally, but actually from just the sun. So Lamar Jackson was a Bobby Petrino product, but that was 10 years ago almost. And Lamar Jackson's been in the league for quite a while, and one of the things that I've heard of folks kind of mentioned is that Bobby is starting to be on the backside of his career. He's declined a little bit, but this is what I want to reemphasize to people. If Bobby was coming from Missouri State, if he was coming from Western Kentucky and then coming back into this role, I would have some reservations and some doubts a little bit, just because he has been out of the SEC for quite a while. He hasn't seen an SEC defense on a week in, week out basis, if that was the case. But he was at Texas A&M. He's already had a full year of figuring out the defenses on the SEC, in the SEC West and some in the East. He's been able to game plan some of those for some of those teams. The way he wanted to. Now, Jimbo did have the handcuffs on him.
Yeah, he definitely has handcuffs on him. I'm telling you, Bobby's the best play caller in the country. Don't be worried about him, because I don't care if he's 100 years old. Bobby can call plays against anybody and will do it. And KJ would fit his system. I mean, Bobby, any quarterback can fit into Bobby's system. I mean, he took different kinds of quarterbacks and made them, what they are. So I mean, he adjusts. I mean, he adjusts. So I mean, now I'm not worried about Bobby Petrino. That's the last thing I'm worried about next season. Be Bobby Petrino. He did have handcuffs on him at A&M though. Yep. I knew that. I was on there with Kevin Kelly and Matt Mosley on a preseason show, and they were telling me, "Oh no, he'll turn Bobby loose. He has no choice." And I said, "I don't believe it. I don't believe for 1 minute that Jimbo will turn him loose, let him run his offense." And they disagreed with me, and I tell you what, I was right, because I'm telling you, Jimbo was not going to turn that over. It's not in his DNA. I mean, no. It's his ego. Jimbo's out of work for a reason.
Yeah. Yep. And A&M could have gotten Bobby on the cheap. They really could have if they wanted to, bring him up. But I don't from the coordinator to the head coach role.
No.
But I just don't think that the board was going to allow that to happen,
because
here's the problem. They wanted to go in a different offense.
Here's the problem with that, Jason. There's a reason Bobby's offensive coordinator, and this comes from somebody that loves Bobby Petrino. Yeah. The reason he failed at Louisville, Bobby has got to work. He's very difficult to work for, and it's hard for him to hire a staff of assistants that will work for him that are top-notch assistants. That's the problem, and that's why Bobby is an offensive coordinator. He's very difficult to hire staff, and that's why I think that he's just. That's why he's an offensive coordinator for a reason. And like I said, that's coming from somebody that loves Bobby Petrino.
Yep.
I was shocked. I'm just telling you, he had trouble hiring. The last staff had his son-in-law. I mean, it was just a lot of family and just whoever he could get. And that's the thing holding Bobby back as a head coach again. Not saying he couldn't do it, but there'd have to be a lot of adjustments, and it's just hard to hire staff that will work for him.
Yep. And Tony Brown, do you see KJ going to a contender? Do you think he has a multitude of suitors?
I think any school that doesn't have a quarterback return and needs a quarterback, I don't know why they wouldn't go after him. I'm talking about from Ohio State on. I mean, he's better than a lot of quarterbacks I see out there. I don't know why any school wouldn't go after him.
Maybe Ole Miss wouldn't, because Lane's got Jackson Dart still, but I don't see Ole Miss going after him.
You got Ole Miss, so when you got the Oklahoma State quarterback last year, then he doesn't play down there. So I don't think.
Yeah,
KJ is going to be smarter than Sanders was. He's going to go where he can play. I mean, a transfer with 1 year, you don't have that window to go find out and sit behind somebody. And
I was wondering why Spencer Sanders went there. Personally.
And I guess he was betting on himself that he could beat out Dart. It didn't happen, and then he ended up, So you got to be careful when you've only got. Heck, all quarterbacks need a good offensive line, man.
That's why I put that. I knew you were going to say that once you put that up there.
No quarterbacks should have to play behind the line that they're getting sacked 40-something times. I mean, everybody wanted Jacoby Criswell to play, and I love Jacoby, but when he came in, he got the crap knocked out of him just like KJ did. I mean, you gotta give a quarterback time to throw, man. It doesn't matter who he is. I mean, They would have killed Brady behind that offensive line. So I mean, KJ needs a good offensive line. So does every other quarterback in America. You know, Milroe's got a good one at Alabama. If he was running for his life like KJ, he would be struggling.
He did for most of the season too. That was the thing, is that the offensive line in Alabama over the last month has been progressively getting better.
Yeah, Alabama and Georgia are not the juggernaut that they've been in the past. They're just not. And I hear all this stuff about, not best team in the country. Look, Georgia, people ran on them all season, and I see that's a good question on Will Rogers, and that's out there. I think what Arkansas has to do first, they've got to find out what KJ's doing, and you've got to decide. What is Malachi going to do? Because his mom put some stuff out there the day of the Missouri game that
right back down again.
So you got to decide. Okay, so do you have Jacoby? Do you have Malachi? Do you have KJ? I'm talking about Jackson.
Yep.
Or do you have KJ Jefferson, KJ Jackson, Jacoby, and Malachi? If that would depend on if you lose Malachi and you lose KJ Jefferson, and you're sitting there with Jacoby and KJ Jackson, then do you go get a Will Rogers or portal quarterback, or do you go get another high school quarterback and bring them into the fold? Are you comfortable with 3 quarterbacks? Or are you comfortable with 4? So Will Rogers, if Arkansas feels like at the end, when all the dust settles here in the next few days, and it should settle here in the next 72 hours, 96 hours.
Yeah.
If they feel like they need a quarterback from the portal, then Rogers would probably be a guy that they would definitely look at. I mean, why not? I mean, I'd say by him, a guy like I did KJ Jefferson. If you need a quarterback, why would you not recruit the guy?
Yep.
So you got to decide, what do you have in Jacoby Criswell? What do you have in him? That's what Bobby's got to decide. Do I have a starter? If so, then I need a third quarterback besides KJ Jackson. If you feel like Jacoby's your starter, you may feel comfortable going and getting another high school kid.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions to answer before you can just say, yes, you take Will Rogers, because if you feel like you need a starting quarterback, you go after Will or one of those guys of that stature. There's 2 or 4 or 5 like that. I don't know if they're good as Will, but there's some good quarterbacks out there. What Arkansas has to decide first is, do they need a starter? And if they do, and that would depend on what KJ Jefferson does, and then what do they feel about Jacoby Criswell? I don't think they're looking at Malachi or KJ Jackson as a starter right now. So I think it comes down to, what do you feel? What does KJ Jefferson do? Then how do you feel about Jacoby Criswell? How does Sam and Bobby feel about Jacoby Criswell? That's what it comes down to if you decide you're going to go get you a starter out of the portal. Because, if you feel like Jacoby is not your starter, then I think you have to get a Will or somebody like that, if KJ leaves. Yeah, I think
and you also have to put into perspective, whoever you bring in, can Jacoby Criswell push that other player, and can that other player push Jacoby? Because they have to have competition every day at the quarterback position in practice, because if they don't, neither of them are going to get any better. So that's one of the first things.
Push the heck out of anybody they bring in here. That kid's good. I like him. I would not be hesitant to give him the starting job. I love Jacoby Criswell. I think he can handle it. Judging him behind that offensive line this year is not fair. And look, he's unproven. I mean, because he went to North Carolina and he didn't play much there, and he hadn't played much here. So, I mean, I get the people that hear me say that and are skeptical. I get it. I completely get it. And they may very well be right. That's why I said this is a tough decision. That was a great question on Will Rogers, because that's great situation, because this is a tough answer for Bobby and Sam. Are they, from what Sam is? I mean, Bobby's seen a lot less than Sam of Jacoby, but because Sam has seen him in practice every day and stuff. But are they comfortable? Is Sam comfortable with his butt on the line, going into next year? Jacoby is a starting quarterback. He may be. I am,
Yeah.
but I mean, is he? It doesn't matter if I am because I'm going to, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. If Jacoby bombs and I'm still spriting sports, I'm just on here saying I didn't say that about him, But I'm on here wanting people to don't remember saying I said Jacoby was a very good quarterback. I'm an idiot, so But I mean, no, I have no issue giving or feeling that. I don't think you're going to give the job to him. Why? I shouldn't say that. I feel comfortable going into the spring if Jacoby Criswell is probably my leading candidate to be the starter. I hope that answers the question. It's a long-winded one there, but I would feel comfortable with that. That may be misguided because, like I said, man, I mean, he hasn't played much. Yeah, he's definitely got a cannon for an arm. He's smart. I just think give him the starting job, give him more reps, put him behind a very good offensive line. Yeah, I agree with all these guys. Criswell's a good Petrino fit. I would feel comfortable giving him, or not giving him the job. I wish I quit saying. I'd feel comfortable with him being the leading candidate going into the spring. But I will say this: depending on how you feel about Malachi, if he's going to stay or if he's going to hit the portal, and obviously this all depends on what KJ does. Then if you're going in there with just Kobe and KJ Jackson, I've got to get another quarterback, and I'm probably looking at the high school ranks maybe, but I might look at the portal. But if you feel like Jacoby's your starter, you're going to be able to get a quarterback out of the portal that's top notch. If you're not telling him he's going to be the starter, that's the thing. I mean, if I'm a kid in the portal, well, I mean, I guess if I'm a young quarterback, maybe one with 4 years left or something, I wouldn't be so worried about it. But these guys with 1 year, you don't want to do what Sanders at Oklahoma State did and go to Ole Miss and ride the pine, man. I mean, I would be asking questions if I'm Will Rogers I think if Arkansas recruited Will Rogers and brought him in, he'd be the starter. I think Will's a great quarterback, man. I mean,
I think so too.
Even with good as Jacoby is, Will's a heck of a quarterback. Do you want to go that route? That's my question if you're Sam and Bobby. And that's for them to answer. And Jason. That's a tough decision because Jacoby probably deserves it.
Mm-hmm. I got an interesting angle on this too. Is do you spend the money in NIL to bring Will Rogers in to push Jacoby, or do you save the money on NIL and have Malachi and KJ come in and push Jacoby and then spend that money elsewhere on bringing in some other pieces in the portal instead? Because that's what you're looking at, and that you've got to retool the offensive line. So there's money that you're going to have to spend there anyway. So they're going to have, and I know this is really something that nobody really wanted to talk about until it really has become a full, came to a head, is that they also have to have a certain cap of money that they can spend on NIL. So now they almost have a salary cap that they have to work with on. Do we bring this piece in, or do we bring this piece in?
Yeah, because Matt Rule said, and I don't doubt this, it's costing you $1 to $2 million to get a top quarterback out of the portal. Yep. That's what Matt Rule, coach at Nebraska, said, and I have zero doubt that he's not telling the truth, Jason. So you're looking at big bucks there, and I think if you bring Will Rogers in, or even someone of that stature, there's a few. I think he's going to be the starter if you're bringing him in.
Yep. So thoughts on the defense or the running back room? I don't think there's a way we have all six, with Rocket, AJ, Rashad, Augustov, Dom, and Brandon
You're
Russell.
forgetting the kid from Georgia, too, the running back from Georgia.
Yep.
So you're forgetting him. There's really seven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very low. That's a very filled up room.
I've had doubts about Rocket, and this is no inside information at all. I want to be clear with this. I have zero insight on Rocket, but I've had doubts he would be back the entire time. I just had doubts. DeBinion, I'm pretty sure will be back. Braylon Russell will be here. I think I don't know about the other freshman, the recruit from
Augustov.
Florida and Alabama. No, but the kid from Georgia, Alabama and Florida are making a hard push at him. But I love Braylon Russell. I think he's a stud. I think Auguste will stay. I really do. I mean, Dominion, Rocket, and Dom Johnson, I won't ever write him off because I've written him off about 3 or 4 times, not because of his talent, because of his knee injuries. I thought there's no way that kid will come back from all those injuries. And he comes back, and not only comes back, he competes. So I would never write Dominic Johnson off. So I guess the question would be more on Rocket and AJ, maybe Auguste. I haven't seen him say he's coming back, but I would expect him to be back. I would think so, but then again, hell, nothing surprises me with the portal. I mean, kids doesn't, you look at, you can't even tell. It's not even anymore who's not getting to be. It started out this was going to be a deal where the kids not getting to play or go in the portal, but now kids that are starting and starring are going into the portal. So who knows? I mean, people are recruiting them off of campuses. It's like I put on there the other day. I said, guys, you can decide. I'm not, and I don't want anybody coming to me saying I'm not for kids getting paid, because I have no problem. I'm for anybody getting everything they can get, but don't, but so don't come at me and say I'm not fit. But I said, you've got to decide if this is good for college football or not, for what's going on. I mean, people recruiting kids off campuses, schools coming onto your recruiting kids off your campus. You got to decide if that's good, if that's good or not. I mean, that's your, that's your decision. But it's all this bidding for player. Got people making good money, kids making good money. The others are mad and jealous and don't want to play for them, and play with them. It's just caused a lot of issues, and you have to decide if it's something you like or not. I think it's changed, and I'm not sure it's all for the good, man.
Yep. Real quick before we get out of here, I want to congratulate Fayetteville High School on winning the 7A state championship yesterday. Win over Bentonville 22-16. Also, if I'm not mistaken, was it Little Rock Parkview?
Yeah, Parkview beat Shiloh
last night, 55-12, if I'm not mistaken. It was
Parkview. I said last week, I think on the show, or I said somewhere, I think Parkview may be the best team in Arkansas. I don't know where I said that. Here. I said that somewhere. I thought
it was here last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I said I think they may be the best team in Arkansas. I know they're 5A. I get that, but man, I don't know. I mean, you put them in Fayetteville and Greenwood on the field, let them play and settle it. And I don't know who'd win, but I just know Parkview. You can make a good argument that Parkview is as good as anybody in the country, state. I mean, man, they're good. They are. All three of those teams are good. Parkview, Greenwood, and Fayetteville. I mean, there's a reason the three of them went through the season like they did. There's a reason. Those teams are good, man. Who's the best? I don't know. But Parkview, all I'm saying, you can make an argument Parkview is the best team in Arkansas.
They are. I think that they would definitely give Greenwood and Fayetteville a run for their money as far as talent goes.
Those would be some great games, man. I mean, those would be great games to play a tournament there with those three teams somehow. I mean, man. I can make an argument Greenwood's the best team in Arkansas. I can make an argument Fayetteville's the best team in Arkansas. So, I mean, you can make an argument for all three of those, but those are three great teams. Congratulations to all three of them, man. Those are really good teams. Really good teams.
Greenwood, they topped Little Rock Christian Friday night 41-23, and then the 4A and 3A and 2A beat Bigelow beat East Poinsett County 28-14 to take the 2A state championship. Sure. And now next week you've got Harding Academy versus River and taking on Rivercrest in the 4A state championship, and then you've got Prescott taking on Boonville at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and then after that will be the Harding Academy Rivercrest game at 6:30.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not noon, not 9 a.m.
I would have seen Harding Academy play Friday night if I'd have been allowed to go out. Doctor wouldn't allow me to go out because I was still somewhat contagious, but they played at Elkins, and I would like to have seen them play. Their linebackers committed to Arkansas.
Yeah. So that's Also, want to say congratulations also to Rector. They beat Spring Hill 22-14 to take the 8-man state championship. So that is your high school football rundown here towards the end of the year. We got 2 more games left in Little Rock next Saturday. So I want to say thank you to, or congratulations to all of them and their hard work that they put in. And, you know, it pays off. It does at the end of the season. Well, y'all, I'm going to get y'all out of here today. Dudley and I will be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. He's got basketball today at 2 o'clock with Arkansas taking on UCLA, which is number 2 in the country. And so him and I are going to kick the can to tomorrow evening, so that way that he can get all of his story out and get that in a timely fashion. So I don't want to hem him up. But for Otis, myself, Jason, I want to thank you all for jumping on with us. And this has been the Arkansas Razorback, or the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk here on hogville.net, YouTube Live.
Thanks, man.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CloysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.